Hi everyone, it's Desiree, and we are here with part 2 of the My Monthly Hero January 2018 card kit. So this is again part 2. Part 1, I'll link that below in case you missed that. So let's get started with card 6. Again, still getting feel for the dies and everything else, so I'm using the ampersand sign. I'm going to call it the and sign because I can't pronounce the other word. It's really funny. So I cut that out of craft cardstock, and now I'm using a black 4 1/4, 5 1/2 top folding card base. And you can see with the die, when it cut out, I took out a section of it. This is one of those paper layering. So when it cuts into the paper, you can like fold up some of the pieces. It's kind of cool. It's really sort of the first time I used it. So I used the first layer of the love stamp, and I'm using this absolutely gorgeous pink embossing powder with the sparkles. So I'm going to heat set that. I am still loving that heat gun. Oh my god, it is amazing. So yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I know the CPA is going to come after me. CPA, sorry. I'm going to beat my card just to make sure the embossing is cooled. I just have a habit of smearing it before it hasn't cooled yet, so it like goes all over the place. So yeah, we beat the cards. On the inside of it, because it's just going to say love on the outside, on the inside I stamped one of the sentiments of just friendship, and I'm grabbing my Ranger embossing pen and I'm adding 3 dots in front of it. So on the outside it'll say love, and then when they open it at the bottom it'll say ... friendship. So kind of different there. So I have this, and again, this is a card, you know, I kind of always start out with the, you know, maybe like a simple card just to get a feel for all of this. This was a kit was really fun because of the dies. The dies were really what made this for me, because they were so different, so unique. They were just a dream to work with. So now I'm just fiddling around with the papers and bending them up and seeing how far I can bend them before I tore them and all of that. I had to do some thinking there. This one I was kind of like a thought process. So I grabbed my Stitch Chart dies, and I'm really sorry, I just don't know the company of these. These were given to me, and they weren't in a package. I don't know what I did with the package, so I apologize. So I cut 2 different sizes. I used the pink pearl paper that came in the kit, and I'm just layering some hearts with the craft paper as well. I do like the look of pink, the brown craft paper and black, or red craft and brown. For me, I just kind of like it. It kind of puts like an edge to Valentine's maybe. I'm actually trying one of the Nuvo sparkle pens. I'm liking it. I think it is very similar. My favorite is still the Spectrum Noir. And I came up with an idea. I pulled out my Blick Pearl watercolor. I am loving this stuff. I'm keeping it on my table. And I'm actually going to paint this right onto the craft paper. And I'm going to do that when it comes to the hearts. And now I'm going to paint the and sign, which gave me an idea. I have so many watercolor brushes. I'm going to fill one up with this stuff with some water, and I'm going to go to town, I think, with that brush, with this pearl watercolor into it. I just love the look of it. It's still see-through. It does change the color a little bit of the craft paper. It does take it to like a grayish brown, so whatever you do apply it to. Now this is a little bit thicker than what I would put in my watercolor brush, but I have the feeling you're going to see it in the next video. Yes. So I'm only going to use one of the heart pairs that I did. The card was getting just a little bit full with placing some items around, but again, we got that rule of thirds going on. I pulled out my Desiree confetti hearts. I had gotten these at my local Joann's store. Nope, not Michael's. Years ago, and I just found them. Again, still cleaning, still rearranging things. And I'm going to set some of the hearts around, and then I'm going to use one of the open hearts on the heart layer that I have down there in the corner. So it's very simple. Doesn't need a lot of materials that we have, and I'm sure absolutely substitutions can be made. For card 7, you see an embossing folder there. Nope, we don't use it. So I used my Lawn Fawn stitch rectangle to cut out a panel using the white, the Recollections shimmer paper that I have. So it's like a grayish white. So I cut out the heart, and I'm going to have that piece set aside because I changed my mind, and I'm going to use this really mirror gold paper, and I'm going to cut out that heart with that. And then I want to back it with a piece of black cardstock. So I'm just cutting it down so that it'll cover back there. I thought I had a good idea. Yeah, see, there go those fingers again. Thought I had a good idea if I just took this, put it on one of my, craft mats, silicone mats, and just, I could go right across the whole thing. Yeah, don't do this. Learn from my mistakes. Don't do that. It will just destroy everything. Thank goodness I didn't have to cut another one, although I would have. So now I'm just setting some glue around, and I'm going to take that black piece of cardstock. I'm going to try to clean my mat as best as I can so I don't get it all over the place. And I'm going to put my black cardstock right to the back of that. I think that looks cool like that. But then I'm going to inlay the gold lace heart. We're going to call it a lace heart. And I'm going to just lay that right on top. So there's no dimension to this. I mean, you have the dimension of the die that cut out. So this is just a flat card top that's going to, card design that's going to go on the card base. I'm going to use a piece of fun foam. I'm going to cut that down, and I use double-sided tape that I get from Joann. Don't use your ATG. I don't find that's a good adhesion for that. So score tape, the actual score tape, or the double-sided tape that I get from Joann's called Ms. Sparkle and Co. and Company. I think it's just as strong, and that's the only thing that I use it for, is when it comes to my fun foam. Oh, sorry, rambled a little bit there. So I'm going to heat set my sentiment, and I used my Gold Recollections embossing powder, and I took a bunch of the sentiments and I combined them, and it says friendship is love. I'm going to use one of my spare pieces of fun foam, and I'm going to adhere that to the back. Because you can use that to prop up. You don't have to use double-sided foam tape. You can actually use your scraps. I keep them. I keep everything of my fun foam, and sometimes I'll use those for my sentiments. And I'm just going to set that down on the bottom, and I just cut off the edge on an angle. The base is 4 1/4, 5 1/2 top folding, and it's dark pink. I really found the Distress Oxides played a major role for me with this kit as well. But I just had to play with these specialty papers that were in the kit. They're like fabric. So I used a Lawn Fawn stitch rectangle, and I cut out a panel, and I backed it with some fun foam. And I'm going to place that on, you can't really see it in the camera, it almost looks orange, but it's a very deep red card base, 4 1/4, 5 1/2 top folding. So I'm going to use the first layer stamp for the word love, and I'm going to use black soot. The other beautiful thing, not only do these blend like butter, but the Distress Oxides are awesome to stamp with. And they're awesome to clean your stamps because it comes right off. So I put a layer down of the black. I'm going to go in reverse. Now I'm going to come in with the lighter color. Sometimes we use the lighter color first, and then we come in with the darker. I wanted to see what it would look like if I flipped it. So I'm using ice spruce for this layer. So, and I'm letting it sit there. I do a lot of CPR. I know the CPA's coming after me. I was really doing some CPR. I was beating my cards, and I was flapping my cards here. But I really like the way that it looks. The gray on top of the black kind of blended a little bit, kind of gave a shadow, not a direct impression. I spritzed it with a little bit of water. I know in the first video, if you saw it, I don't like to usually dab it up with a paper towel. But this time I did, and it kind of gave it like a vintage distressed look. It's really cool. At least I like it. I don't know. So I used my Lawn Fawn scalloped rectangle dies, and I cut out a panel, and I set that on top of the specialty paper, just down a little bit. Again, not direct center. We always, you do the rule of thirds, never center anything unless that's what you're going for. I'm using the ribbon that actually came in the kit that's wrapped around it, and I'm just going to tie a bow. This one actually went pretty well, so I kept the whole footage in there. I was pretty impressed. Using the wrong scissors, of course, to trim off my edges. You should always have a pair of scissors for ribbon and fabric and a pair of scissors for paper. Your scissors for paper are dull. They do dull down, but if you only use them for paper, you never know. So I adhered it with one of my mini glue dots, and that's it for that card. For card number 9, I really liked the look of the Distress Oxide Black Soot and Iced Spruce. I was really going with that. I'm using the Lavender Pearl paper that came in the kit now, and I'm cutting 2 of the lace corners. I never used the lace stamp. I just realized that as I'm filming this. So I'm going to use the and sign. Yep, can't say that word. Still can't. And I'm going to now do the reverse of what I did in the previous card. So now I'm going to take the first layer stamp, and I'm going to stamp that in Ice Spruce. And then I'm going to come in for the second layer with the Black Soot and give it that accent. Now with this, these were very easy to layer. Very simple. Now I go a little off on this, but what I want to show you is when it comes to this, it didn't matter. It really, really didn't matter, even though I was off. I knew it was off. Yes, it could have driven me crazy, but just let it go. It doesn't look bad. You can't tell. The wonky die is making an appearance from my favorite things. So I cut out my panel, made sure the and sign was in the center. Yes, I actually centered it this time. I'm going to use some foam to mount this panel on it's actually ivory. It's the Gina K ivory, 4 1/4, 5 1/2 top folding. And now I'm going to place these 2 lace corners above and below. So it's not going to have that square, but it's just going to create the image of it, just to frame that and sign and all of its scrolls. I like the look of gray and lavender, not purple, lavender. I'm going to use the 2 sentiments, friendship and love, and I'm using one of the ink cubes. Me and these ink cubes, we do not work well, and it's the operator's fault because the Hero Arts ink is phenomenal, but I am horrible with them for some reason. They're just so awesomely juicy. So I cut those out, and I used my Nina Solar to stamp on, and I'm just going to position them within the lace corners that are above and below. So the friendship is actually going to go on the top, and the ink actually matched the lavender pearl paper or shimmer paper perfectly. I'm sure they planned that. And I'm going to set the love on the bottom. I grabbed the Gray Mist and the Pale Periwinkle Crystal Drops from Nuvo, and I'm just going to place those around. So I'm continuing the gray and the purple dots throughout this. What's nice with the crystal drops is they do dry transparent, so they're like dewdrops. Those dew sequin drop thingies that we can buy. And I'm just placing those all around. And that's card number, yeah, beat it, CPA, I know, coming after me. So for those of you that saw the first video, if you remember card number 2, I could not throw that panel away after I die cut it. It sat on my table as I was creating all these cards, and I kept on staring at it. So I thought, okay, a piece of vellum behind it. You're going to see I didn't use that. So now I took this panel and all of that solid area, I put tons of foam tape, double-sided foam tape. And I cut a panel of the pink shimmer that came in the kit. And I used my Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle. And I set this down on it. And now I'm just trimming around the edge because this piece of Bristol paper that I did the blending on, I just take a sheet and I cut it in quarters. So it's going to be 4.5 by 6. So I'm just making these little tiny trims. I'm going to adhere that directly onto another, this is a white card base, 4.25 by 5.5. And now I grab that mirror gold again and I cut another one of the lace hearts. So remember, this panel is now raised up on it, so it does have a dimension to it. So I'm fiddling around with the heart, getting all those awesome pieces out of there. And now I'm going to inset the gold lace heart cut out. Yeah, of course, once I got it in there, I thought I was going to tear it. And I'm going to set that in there. So I'm just going to place my glue around and then push it down onto the pink shimmer. I do use a pick tool for this. It was very helpful to make sure that that piece went down onto the card base so that the colors were propped up. I didn't want them to bend down. And then of course, you know, there's that CPR with my hand coming in again. It's paper. It's okay. And then I used the, I'll call it a border lace, because I don't know what it's truly called. And I'm going to set that in onto the top. I was thinking about continuing and doing the corners, but me personally, I thought that was going to be way too much gold. It would have been beautiful, but I think it would have taken away from the star. Just like with the second one, you know, I debated on a sentiment. You know what? We're not putting a sentiment on this. I don't think the card needed anything else. I was looking at the pearls that were in the kit also. I believe this was a free gift by Hero Arts. Thank you. Was playing around with them, and I was going to put them throughout the heart. And you're going to see, nope, they go away. Didn't like the look. Didn't want to go through that. I just wanted this card to stay this way. So we did not put any sentiments on this card. And that is card number 10. These are the cards that we made in part 2 of my monthly Hero Art Kit for January of 2018. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as you all enjoyed the first one. This was a fun kit. Very different, very unique. And I know it's one that I am going to continue to use. That heart is just absolutely gorgeous. I just love the look of it. I love the way the two pieces come together. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We'd love to have you here in the gang. We have a great time. We laugh. I love reading your comments. So please, any comments or questions, leave them below. All the products that I used, as always, will be listed below. If I forget one, please leave it in the comment. I will make sure that I send it to you. There is so much coming up. We've got Gina K. I've got 2 Simon Says. I've got some awesome things from Peg Stamps. Just so much, and some neat ideas I think I'm almost finished with. Just remember, everyone, always be creative.